Hey loved ones, it's Love. So I'm coming to you right now to talk about your credit score. Come on, credit, come on. So up and down my timeline, I'm seeing people getting new cars. I'm seeing people just with a whole bunch of new things, and that's neither here nor there, right? But a lot of times it takes credit to get those things. And as you guys may or may not know, my industry or my career is in banking and finance. So I sit and talk with people all day about their credit. So I'm going to give you a little bit of 101 or credit 101. So the first thing that you need to do is actually be cognizant of what's on your credit. So the first thing you need to do is go ahead and pull the credit bureau report. And you can access your credit bureau report from Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. Those are the three major credit bureaus. So you can also pull your credit bureau free once every year. And that's going to be from freeannualcreditreport.com. So go ahead, get that, pull your credit so that you can know when you're sitting with someone or across from someone that you're applying for something for, be that a credit card, a car, some new tits. I've known people to get all kinds of things, all sorts of things on their credit. One of my good girlfriends financed her whole facial feminization off of good credit. So that's one less money out of your pocket, I guess, on the front end. It'll save you some coins as well. So yes, pull your credit bureau report so that you can know what's on there. When you get your credit bureau report, I suggest having a highlighter or a red pen or pencil. Now with the highlighter, what you're going to go through is you're going to see if you have anything in collections first. As a lender in banking and finance, I hate seeing something or someone having something in collections, no matter how absorbent or how minute it may be. If you're working on your credit seriously, you shouldn't have anything in collections. But if you do, there's this letter that you can write. It's called a pay for delete letter. I'll say it again. It's pay for delete. And you can Google that term. In essence, what will happen is that you'll find a generic letter. And in that generic letter, you'll just input things that's going to be pertaining to your situation. That's why it's going to be pertinent for you to get that credit bureau report. On the credit bureau report, it's going to have the name of the collection agency. That way, I think at the bottom it may have the address of the collection agency as well, if I'm not mistaken, so that you can fill in that information in that pay for delete letter. And the letter, what that letter consists of is that, say you have something for $85 in collections, and you're thinking, okay, well, I'm willing to pay so-and-so on this $85. That letter is going to tell, hey, to this collection agency, if you're willing to take my $30 on this $85 that I owe, what you're agreeing to do by cashing up my check is that you're agreeing to remove the negative connotations from the credit bureau report, and you're agreeing to remove it from collections. Now, I know a lot of collection companies will take something over nothing, so be cognizant of that, as well as it doesn't hurt to ask. You know, you may have to ask more than one time, but it doesn't hurt to ask. Also, with doing that, just don't pay the things off in collections by just sending them coins or having them take your credit card or your debit card information over the phone. Because what that'll do is that it'll show paid, but it'll still be in collections. So you're defeating the purpose. It's not actually helping your credit score. It's just showing paid, but still in collections. So I implore you to go ahead and research the pay for delete letter. There's also something we call bars and stars. On that payment history for the merchants that you chose to deal with, be that your car payment, signature loan, or credit card, if you paid on time, then you should see no stars or bars. Everything's going to be clear. But if you made some late payments, it's going to be denoted by a number and some stars. 1, 2, 3 for how many times that you've been that term or time late. You have 3 choices that you can look at, or 3 options. It's going to be 30 days late, 60 days late, as well as 90 days late. And under each one of those individual things, you'll see a 1 for one time, or 2 for 2 times, or however many number of times. But with that, should you see anything like that, what you may want to write to that agency or to that merchant is called a Goodwill Letter. And you can Google that term as well. And what that Goodwill Letter is going to entail is just you asking them, okay, well, I've made or explain the situation. I've made my payments since it's late time that I paid on time. Can you find it in your heart of hearts to remove that for me? So that I can increase my credit worthiness. Something to that effect, but it'll be a generic letter as well. And you can just type in what's pertaining to your situation. But go ahead and write those things, because if you have good credit and you have those things on there, it's called pruning, like a garden or like a rose bush. You want to take off all the dead stuff, to increase that credit score. Credit beacon, your beacon or your credit score can go as high as 900 points. I've never seen a 900. I've seen them close. I've seen 870s, 850s, but I've never seen a 900. I've been in this industry, for quite some time, but I've never seen a 900. Not to say that there isn't that. Not to say it's not out there, but I've never seen one. What you also are going to do with your credit bureau report, for one, you're going to look at that beacon or that credit score. You're going to look to see if you have any things in collections or charge-offs. Now that's another thing. There's a squirrel outside my window. Charge-off. What that simply means is that something has gone into collections, you didn't pay it, and the company just wrote the bill or the debt off, out of sight, out of mind for them. They took a loss, so to speak. Charge-off definitely doesn't look good on your credit bureau report, especially when you're applying for something. Because as a lender, what I'm thinking about is, okay, you're in front of me asking me for money. Who's to say that you won't turn a blind eye to what you're asking me for? So you have to go ahead and pay off charge-offs. But the thing about that is that you have to look to see how old they are. That's going to be with collections as well. Anything getting close to 7 years or 6 years and a couple of months, don't even worry about that kind of stuff, because it's about to fall off your credit bureau report. Negative connotations stay on your credit bureau report for 7 years. Be that collections, charge-offs, bankruptcies last 2 years. I want to say that you can, before you're supposed to apply for something credit-wise. And it's healthy to have a good mix of credit. By that, what I mean is an installment loan. That's something that has a fixed end date or fixed due date. That could be a car. That could be a personal loan or a signature loan. A revolving line of credit, which is going to be a credit card. You use it, pay it back, pay it back, or a line of credit. A lot of banks issue those as overdraft protection sometimes. So you can check into that as well. But yeah, it's always healthy to have a good mix of credit. When you're looking at your credit cards, for one, you always want to make sure that your balance, the money that you've used, is 50% less than what your limit is. What that's called is credit utilization. And we look at that in terms of how you're using the credit that you have. If you're living off of that card, if you cannot manage that card. And a lot of times what we see when you're almost to your limit or at the limit, or the card is maxed out, that means that either you're not making enough money to handle the credit that you have, or you're living above your means. Another thing that comes into play into that is going to be your debt to income ratio. By that, we mean, what we mean by that is the money that you have coming in, subtracted your inflow of cash, subtracted by the bills that you pay, your debt, your outgoing cash. What's left over is going to equal your margin. That's going to be your available money after your bills have been paid, that you have to purchase things with, or pay on the loan that you're applying for. So if your debt to income ratio is excessive, 9 times out of 10, you probably need another job, because you're not bringing in enough money to sustain yourself adequately financially. Also, number 2, you may want to start checking your bills and looking at things that you don't need to have because you're living above your means. Or you may want to get another job to add to your cash that's already coming in. And that's always a good thing, even if it's part-time. Extra cash flow is not going to hurt you. Let me see, did I cover everything? I know we went by everything really, really quickly. But that's the basis of it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Please feel free to subscribe. I'll answer any questions that you have in reference to your credit or your credit bureau report. So this is 101. So maybe if you guys like it, I can, with the questions that you give me, I can come back with another video. Also, people are misinformed about a credit card. You don't have to leave a running balance on your credit card for it to report to the credit bureau. You can pay it off and put it in your drawer. That'll simply be fine. It'll still be reporting to the credit bureau as something positive. So you don't have to keep $100 and keep paying $5 or $15 on it every month. You can go ahead and pay it off. But when you're building credit, you want to use it and pay it back, use it and pay it back, as revolving line should do. And you don't have to use it as well. But yeah, if you have any questions, any comments, anything that I kind of went over too fast for you, I can definitely expound on in the next video. Know that you guys are loved. Know that you're loved.